Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about the Trump economy. Okay. Now, ever since George Bush Sr. lost the election to Bill Clinton, okay, all politicians have learned something. Okay, and if you recall what happened with George Bush Sr., in his first 3 years he had a very strong economy. Then in his fourth year there was a recession. And basically he lost re-election because of that recession that happened during his election year. Okay, and the reason why that recession happened is because basically the economy started heating up. Okay, the Federal Reserve, which is supposed to be independent, saw inflationary pressures, and what they did is they raised interest rates to slow down the economy. Okay. And what happened was, see, with economies are kind of like freight trains. Freight trains don't, start and stop on a dime. It takes them a long time to start moving, and it takes them a long time to stop. Okay, so what happened was the Federal Reserve raised interest rates, and it basically, they ended up raising them, I guess, too much for too long, and it caused a recession. And then Bill Clinton came along and basically said, "It's the economy, stupid." That was his famous line. And as a result, George Bush Sr. Lost. And that, that's something I never expected to happen, because he won Desert Storm, the first war. The first war against Saddam Hussein. So nobody ever expected George Bush Sr. to lose. So there was a lesson to be learned from that. Okay, that all politicians learned. That came after. And the lesson is that Americans have a very short memory. Okay, so if you give them 3 good years, okay, and in your fourth year you have an economic downturn, they're going to forget about the first 3 years, and basically, as a whole, you're going to get voted out. Okay, which is that's not to say that every single person, or even that's not to say that every single person is going to forget those 3 good years, but the majority will. Okay, and basically our elections are pretty much determined by majorities, so that was the result. So following that, every politician that came after that, right, that got into the White House, they basically said, "Hey, listen, I want a recession in the first year, okay, which I can blame on the previous president, and then basically I've got 3 years to dig my way out of it." And then basically by the time I get to my fourth year, the economy will be recovering, and I can take credit for that, and that's how I will win re-election. Okay, so we saw that with Bill Clinton. We saw that with George Bush Jr. We saw that with Obama. Okay, basically there was that same pattern, which I expected to see for the rest of my life going forward. Okay, I expected that every president that comes in is going to basically have the Fed raise interest rates, cause that recession, and basically they'll climb out of it over 3 years and get themselves reelected for saving the economy. So Trump now, he's done something that I never expected him to do. Okay, and I'm not being pro-Trump or anti-Trump here. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm just analyzing what's happened in the past, stating what I expected to happen going forward. And I see that something very different is happening now. And I'm coming into this from the perspective of an accountant. Okay? I'm an accountant. That's what I do for money, basically. Okay? I do people's tax returns. I help corporations plan their financial futures. So I'm kind of plugged into the economy. Okay? I've been for a long time. So with Trump, he's basically taking a super aggressive stance. Okay? The stance that he's taking is, forget this recession stuff in the first year and 3 years to dig my way up. I'm going full steam ahead. Okay, I'm not taking that break. I'm going to go full tilt. Now, the problem with this, okay, is the Federal Reserve is independent. Okay, and they're probably pro-Democrats since Obama and appointed probably the last few. He probably appointed, I don't remember what his name is, but he appointed the last Federal Reserve chairman. So the Fed is going to be Democrat leaning. So most likely anything they can do to hurt Trump, they will do it. Okay. Now Trump has already factored this into his line of thinking. So he's taking a really super aggressive stance. Trump believes with all these, with all these changes he's making to the trade rules, okay, and the international tariffs and the trade wars and all that stuff, he is, he's calculating that he can grow the economy faster than the Federal Reserve can try to shrink it. Okay, so he's putting himself in direct competition with the Federal Reserve, which is astonishing. I mean, I have to admit, if I was Trump, I probably would have followed the pattern. I would have said, okay, give me a recession in the first year. I got 3 years to dig myself out, and then basically, I'll get myself reelected in the fourth year, and keep sailing forward from there. Okay. Now the problem with that, okay, and this is a problem that, all the previous presidents, Bill Clinton, George Bush Jr., and Obama had, okay, is when you have that recession in your first year, okay, what's going to happen is you are most likely going to lose the Congress, okay, because people are going to say, hey, whatever the president is, if he's a Democrat, the Congress will probably flip Republican. If the president is a Republican, the Congress will probably flip Democrat, okay, because in the midterm elections, okay, everybody's going to blame the president for that recession in his first year, and a lot of people will vote against the president. Okay, so that's the consequence of following that method. Okay, you will get yourself reelected 4 years later, but you will lose the Congress, and which means you will not be able to get a whole lot of things accomplished. Okay, so Trump has taken a super aggressive stance, and he basically says, I will not lose the Congress, and I will get myself reelected. Okay, so he's going full speed ahead. He's taking the super aggressive stance where he thinks that by making all these changes to the to the import-export laws and the taxes and the trade agreements and all that, he believes that he can grow the economy faster than the Fed can try to shrink it, which I think is amazing, and I hat off to him. I mean, that's balls, to put it simply. As a guy that studies economics and is in tune with the economy, I mean, that's being really, really aggressive to try and basically pick a fight with the Federal Reserve. So those are my thoughts. They've been on my mind for a while now. As I'm watching and seeing what Trump's been doing and the way he's moving. And I think that's the reason why he's been so aggressive, with his trade policies. He's willing to flip everything upside down because he needs to. He needs that 4+% growth rate. Despite the fact that the Federal Reserve might be working against him. So my hat off to him for that. That's really, that's really ballsy. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.